Hello and welcome back to my RC channel. I'm AndyRC and today I'm going to be checking out the BoldClash BWhoop, also known as the B06. This is a one-cell brushless tiny whoop size model, and I think a lot of people are interested in this because, well, it's becoming winter, it gets dark very early here, and it's very cold and it rains all the time. So yeah, I'm looking forward to flying this one because, yeah, it's been a challenge recently reviewing models. Now, the price of this one, it's $99, so it's not cheap by any means. And I'm thinking, what can I compare this to? And it's probably going to be the Jumper X68, and that one is considerably cheaper than this. So yeah, I'm expecting good things from this. So it's a 77mm frame from motor to motor, so a little bit bigger than a tiny whoop actually. Of course, we've got brushless motors here, and they seem to be BoldClash branded, and they are the 0703 size, and they are 15,000 kV. We've got these little tri-blade motors here, and we have got the prop protectors or ducts, whatever you want to call them. It comes with a pretty hefty battery. So it is a 450 milliamp, apparently 80C to 160C. It's probably not the case, but there you go. It's an MCPX style connector, so 2mm JST there. Now, the quadcopter without its battery weighs 27 grams, and then with the battery 40 grams, but it is a brushless model, so it's going to be heavier than the brushed variant. So you might be thinking, well, why should I get one of these instead of the brushed models? Well, a lot of people tell me that their brushed motors burn out all the time, and brushless motors shouldn't do that. Me personally, I've never had a brush motor burn out on me yet, but I guess you guys are flying these a lot more than I am. So yeah, that's a reason to go for the brushless motor, but of course it's more expensive. What I like about this though is it's really simple. So there's no on-screen display, that might put you off. So we've got a SP Racing F3 flight controller with Betaflight flash to its version 3.16. As I say, no on-screen display. Then we've got 2 amp with a max 3 amp burst ESCs. They are BL Halley, not BL Halley S. It's running one shot 125. Like I say, you can get various receivers with it. This is the XM version, but it does say on the box here. So you can have DSM-2, DSM-X, you can have FlySky, the Futaba protocol, or you can have it as a bind and fly as well. And like I say, I'll link that in the below where to get it from. As for the camera and VTX, it's not a all-in-one, it's actually split. So we've got the camera at the top here, and then we've got the VTX at the back. It is 48 channel, 25 milliwatts, just a single button to change the channels. And if you look through this little vent here, you've got a green light that goes through the 8 individual channels, and then it's a couple second press each time to go through the different bands, so very easy. And if you want to switch between NTSC and PAL, then you can actually remove these 2 screws, and at the back of the camera is a little button you can switch between those 2 as well. As for the antenna, it's just a sleeve dipole antenna on the back there. It is horizontal. A modification could be to lift it vertical. You probably get more range out of that, but I have to say the quality seems really nice. And yeah, the quality of the plastic is good as well. It says BoldClash on the top there. And I've gone and got a spare battery. So yeah, they sell spare batteries on the website and all sorts of spare parts, which is good. It comes in this little tub, so very similar to the King Kong series. And let's take a look what else that we get. So it does fit in this box, obviously. So we get a spare set of props and another spare set of props. We've got a USB charger, which seems like it does 1.25 pitch JST and the 2mm as well. We've got the warning regarding the XM that FreeSky can't tell us which version of the firmware it's got. So yeah, there's some XM receivers out there that struggle to keep their binding, you have to keep binding them. I've not got that problem with this one. We've got a spare canopy here. By the way, this whole pod you can buy separately on their website for about $19 if you want to build your own. We've got the XM manual. We have got a USB cable, so yeah, your USB ports there for changing stuff in Betaflight. The only thing I had to change was the channel map because my Tyrannus is TAER. It was set up as AETR. The modes were already set up, but it was just set to arm off the auxiliary one, and angle was set on the auxiliary one as well, so no acro or anything like that. But I've gone in there and added acro if you want to do that, and I've also added an aux too. We don't have a buzzer, so yeah, you're gonna have to set a timer for this one when it comes to the battery life. But yeah, it might be tricky to get a buzzer on a model this small and keep the weight down and the power still being there, etc. So we also have got a prop remover, and then we've got some instructions here, quite a lot of instructions actually. Yeah, so I think is that the Chinese side, and then we should have the English side here. Yeah, like I say, very easy to set up. And yeah, it was set up to have the motor stop off actually, which is quite nice. But yeah, very simple model. I'm gonna be flying this indoors. I think you could fly it outdoors on a calm day, but it's really meant for indoors and bashing into things. So let's go and take it for a fly and see how it performs. Well, this definitely isn't the weather to be flying a tiny whoop or anything really. We've got gale force winds here, but really I just want to show the punch. So it's not bad actually, you know. We have what, 20 mile per hour winds today, full throttle. That's pretty impressive, I have to say. I'd say that was on par with the full speed bat even. So maybe this one will be good for flying FPV outside. Little bit of prop wash there though on the descent. So maybe I should spend some time tuning this, or having to combat the wind. I've gone into acro. Oh, yeah. This wind's crazy for it though. But a calm day, I think you could fly this outside. Just not today, listen to that. Right, I think, look at that, that's getting... It's very unusual that a quad gets bashed around by the wind, but this thing's just so tiny. I think that will do. Come in for a landing and do some FPV with it. Ah, that is much better. I was nearly getting knocked over out there. I think I'm going to be doing a lot of indoor flying from this point on because, yeah, that weather's just horrendous. Well, it's been horrendous since about June. I think we had about 4 days of sun. Yeah, that's not unusual though. So, yeah, I'm flying this indoors and, yeah, it flew really nice. There's a couple of little wobbles there. I think I'd like to take a look at the tune. This is just the stock tune that was loaded on it, but I do think that that could be ironed out. Despite a couple of wobbles, I was able to fly it nicely indoors. You'll see in this flight that I was able to do some nice proximity around the house. So yeah, very stable, no drift, which is very important with these smaller models because I tend to find that you get a lot of gyro drift. But with this one just being a 1S, there's not many vibrations there, and yeah, I didn't have a problem whatsoever in angle mode. So yeah, just flying around the house and seeing how far I can get. So with the antenna being horizontal, there was definitely a little bit of a limit to how far I could fly, but you can see this house isn't huge. I'm able to get all the way around it, pretty much breaking up there in this room. but not too bad. Again, threading the needle, these doors are really narrow, and this staircase is really narrow, and it's newly decorated. Wouldn't normally do this, but because we've got those prop protectors, you can see I'm bashing into stuff, and there's no problems whatsoever. Now, you'll see when I go into this back area here, I'm getting more breakup, so again, that's probably about the limit. So I have gotten further indoors, and that's usually with a model that has the antenna vertical, so that would be very easy to modify. And actually, the picture quality is pretty decent considering that I'm using a cloverleaf antenna. Just look at this, just threading the needle, you know, we just have a few inches either side free, and yeah, it's really close, this one, and I have to say I had a lot of fun flying it. So let's get and do some proximity. This is where it gets difficult because we'll get breakup under the chairs, but you can see I'm able to do more proximity, flying through little tiny gaps. This is a lot of fun. I've actually got some indoor gates. I'm going to have to get those up and get some practice in because, well, it was probably this time last year that I was flying indoors through there. And just look at this. This is really close, but yeah, managed to get through nicely. So the flight time is about 4.5 minutes, which is really, really good. Now, that being said, I did let the battery go completely dead. That's something that I'm able to do as a reviewer. I need to find out how long this thing will fly for. But if you fly it to the point where it will no longer fly, then you could ruin your battery. So I'd probably say set a timer for 4 minutes at the latest. Of course, that does depend how vigorous you are flying around, but you know, I wasn't being gingerly here. I was flying around pretty quick. You see there, that's sort of like the limit of the video there. So yeah, I guess if you want to be safe, 3.5 minutes. If you want to push it, 4 minutes. And I got a 4:30 flight in total. I just love flying around here. This is so bizarre to me when you look in the mirror and just see a drone. It's really strange. I like to do that quite a lot. But yeah, anyways, we're getting towards the end of the flight, so I'll put a link in the description for this one. It is a bit pricey, but it works really nicely. The power is nice. There's good spare parts, and there's no soldering if you want to replace a motor or anything like that. It's all plug and play, so I'm impressed with that. Like I say, the Jumper X68, probably its competition. And I'll say, as always, thanks so much for watching. Please continue to subscribe. Cheers.